I must say I'm absolutely thrilled to be with you today and to be afforded the opportunity to share not just my personal perspective on the virtues of virtual conferences and training offerings, but also Shell's corporate views as the ultimate client of arbitral services. In the short 5 minutes I have today, I'd like to share with you 4 points from my perspective that hopefully will help inspire your breakout discussions and also help you to understand what's wanted from the corporate's perspective. So my first point, this point very much echoes that of Matthias, and that's to ensure you always come back to the why. But what do I mean by that? Well, to explain, I need to take you back a few years to the dramatic oil price drops in 2016. That was the first year we in Shell Legal needed to very quickly adapt our ways of working, to find ways to quickly conserve cash, and as such embrace the possibilities of virtual conferences. In particular, that year, we for the first time had to move our annual extended leadership team meetings from in-person global conferences to an online virtual offering. Just like now with the pandemic, the real reason behind making that switch was necessitated by external considerations rather than an active, purposeful choice to go online. Indeed, it was only a couple of months before the conference was due to take place that we switched from an in-person conference with all our leaders flying in from around the world to one central hub to an online offering. So as you can imagine, and I know all of you have grappled with, we had to learn a huge amount in a short time from the transition of in-person to online offerings. There were some real and perhaps obvious positives, as we all know now, particularly around cost and reducing our carbon footprint. But we also had some unexpected gains around inclusivity and diversity. For example, on the online forum, we could better manipulate who broke out into the small groups, and we could invite speakers, many of our more junior members, from outside of the established leadership usual list of invitees. But as no doubt all of you have done as well, we ran up against many challenges. But the key tip that I took away from that first experience, and to be honest, which has flowed through subsequent offerings, is to recognize that you can't and you shouldn't try to replicate an in-person offering with a virtual one. Running a conference or training session online is, in my view, an art in its own right. And the best thing you can do is to come back to the basics of why. Why are you running the session? What's the purpose and the goal of your conference? And then seek to establish how you achieve that why, that purpose, through a global virtual offering. My second point relates to inclusivity. Many of the prior keynote speakers have discussed this point and considered how providing online conferences and trainings can promote inclusivity. Inclusivity is a point I feel particularly passionate about. Being part of a dual career couple with 3 small children, I know the difficulties I face with traveling to and attending conferences and training. So I can well imagine the difficulties others must face. The cost of travel from an economic, time and environmental perspective can also be prohibitive and hard to justify in our now online world. So thirdly, looking at diversity. Again, it's clear that online or hybrid ways of working not only promote inclusivity, but also assist with a more diverse audience and speaker lineup. This is definitely something we've experienced at Shell when running online conferences and trainings. As a corporation, we see that it's incumbent upon us as the ultimate user of arbitral services to promote diversity across our counsel teams and particularly with our arbitral panels. We know only too well that bringing different voices, experiences, values and perspectives into a team makes good business sense. And we take the same approach when buying legal services. But we also appreciate that we can only help to pick a diverse panel or counsel team if either we're aware of or we're provided with a list of diverse candidates. We also know that many candidates are only identified from networking at conferences. We're therefore particularly keen on promoting any way in which we can open up that potentially closed off network. Making it cheaper and more accessible for everyone to attend conferences can only help with having a more diverse pool of candidates. And as they say in the well-known Broadway musical Hamilton, To be part of the conversation, you've got to be in the room where it happens. I would say that a virtual room, in many cases, creates for an easier room to enter. So fourthly and finally, from our perspective at Shell, the advantage of an online offering is simple environmental and cost economics. As Lucy's already made clear, it's evident that many of the arbitral activities we undertake have a lasting and significant environmental impact. Reducing travel is a clear way in which all of us can help to decarbonise. So whilst I appreciate there may be many challenges to doing so, and whilst it might not be appropriate in every case, given all the clear benefits in providing targeted and purposeful conferences and trainings online, I would suggest that virtual rather than in person should be the default forum. This is certainly the stance we're taking within Shell with regards to all our dispute resolution hearings, where by virtue of the virtual hearing pledge I've set up, we are setting up as online as our default. So in the same spirit, I'd urge all of you to really embrace the art of the possible with regards to virtual conferences and trainings, and always set yourself the challenge of looking to online as the default forum, unless there's an exceptional purpose, a why not to. I can't wait to hear more about what you come up with in your discussions today, and also being part of your future online offerings. Thanks ever so much.